Good morning, YouTube. Yes, it's morning and the sun hasn't come out, but welcome to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, on today's episode, does anybody recall my friend Frank the Carnivore? Frank and I did an entire YouTube series called Training the Carnivore because he's on the carnivore diet, and we wanted to see if I could train him to lift maximal amount of weight on that diet, and if he could defy basically gravity, because I didn't think he could do it. Now, Frank and I actually ended that series a while back because he had to go off and learn how to be a better jiu-jitsu fighter because he wanted to compete in higher levels. So he's been doing that, and he's also been training with resistance bands in order to try to keep some sort of strength when he's doing his jiu-jitsu. But on this particular day, we went to the gym together, and he wanted to see where he was at on the deadlift. And it just so happened that I was training deadlift on the axle bar. That was on my program for the day. And Frank never lifted an axle bar before. So he wanted to try it out and see just how strong he was after taking all this time off and trying a new implement as well. So let's pop into the gym and let's see what we did today. So on today's giant set, we're doing the axle deadlift. And we're going to be wearing straps, but this is just the initial warm-up set. So I wanted to wear it without it for just this one set. We're basically going to be lifting a thick bar, no knurling, and it's super stiff. So it doesn't bend like a normal barbell, so you're not going to get any give from that. And Frank's back, as you can see, and he's going to be dancing his way into my video. He was super excited to work out with me again. And we're going to be doing the same exact giant set. We're going to be doing some weighted ab sets, which you can see me doing off to the right-hand side. And sometimes we're going to do it in sync, and sometimes we're not going to be able to do it in sync. And we're also going to be doing jump ropes as well. But because the gym was super crowded, sometimes we were unable to do jump ropes within frame, and we're unable to do the weighted sit-ups in frame as well. So we apologize for that. We have to respect other people in the gym. They want to work out too. So we just have to all kind of coexist with each other and make room. Now, if you recall Frank is a carnivore diet enthusiast, meaning he's on the carnivore diet. And if you haven't seen our videos before about the carnivore diet, I'll leave some links in the description. But basically, most of his meals consist of mostly meat, like 90% of it, with a few other things in there that are intricate to the diet. But he hasn't been lifting either. He's mainly just been doing jiu-jitsu and kind of working out with bands and just trying to become a better jiu-jitsu fighter and not necessarily a good weightlifter. So in this case, we were just going to kind of see how high he can go. With me, I already had a designated plan. I'm following a strength program that I've created, but Frank was just going along for the ride and just seeing where he was at. Now, the axle bar is a little bit different in gym math, as you can see, because it's not a 45-pound barbell. It's basically a pipe, and it weighs 30 pounds. So that's why the gym math might be a little off if you're trying to count the plates on each side. The plates are accurate. They're generally what you would find in a gym. But the axle is 30 pounds, so you have to account for that. But don't worry, you see me train with axle long enough to know I know how to do the gym. Now, the most interesting thing here is Frank has taken a lot of time off and hasn't lifted a barbell. He's not wearing a belt or pretty much any other protective gear other than the straps. And he lifted that super fast, 300 flew. And this is 350. Now, this is really close to Frank's max. I think he was 355 on a normal barbell. And look at that, with no belt, that moved super quick. And you can see him kind of like quizzically looking at him because I'm like, you could do more, bro. So after we were discussing this as we were doing our weighted ab mat sit-ups, we were like, hey man, let's go for a PR. So we added 370 pounds to the bar, and the whole gym kind of stopped to watch this. And it moved super fast. But I'm pretty sure that's Frank one rep max because he felt really lightheaded after that. So he said he almost passed out, and we were like discussing it. Yeah, that was really close, bro. But honestly, if Frank was up for it, I really think he could have lifted this weight, 390 pounds, 4 plates on each side. And I really feel like he would have done well. But again, just hitting 370 with no belt, taking all that time off, now that was cool. This is my top set for the day. So my plan was to hit this for at least 1, maybe 2. But as you can see, it was flying. So I decided to go for 3 reps. And the hardest part about this was trying to find the ground, because normally I'm used to a barbell bending, and that thing does not bend. So it's a lot further down to the ground. But it went, and I was very happy with that. And then as we were finishing up the giant set, one of our buddies was like, what is this fat axle bar? And him just trying to get in position, trying to lift it, he was like, wow, you guys are strong. That always feels good. Now for the variation giant set, we were doing 3 rounds. And I didn't film the first round, so this is actually the second round. And we're doing Romanian deadlifts, where essentially we do 1 deadlift, and then we just lower it about 1 inch away from the ground. And that's really going to light up our hamstrings, our posterior chain, and our glutes like a Christmas tree. So Frank is unfamiliar with this, so I was kind of teaching him how to do it. But he did a really good job. You essentially just want to go slow, maintain that bar as close as you can in contact with your legs. And once you get to your knees, then you just kind of like lower down into a squat and lower your hips. And that's just going to absolutely light everything up. And we continue to do our weighted ab mat sit-ups and our jump ropes off screen because of the gyms being crowded. And then for my final set, I was doing 300 pounds. And I don't know where Frank went. I kind of was looking around and I'm like, where's Frank? I mean, I don't think like he would ditch me, right? We're good buddies. But I think Frank had enough. I think he hasn't lifted with me in a while and he forgot how tough it was. So I ended up just kind of rounding out the workout and finishing on my own. But if anybody's seen Frank, please let me know. He still has weighted ab mat sit-ups to do. Now, I'm actually quite baffled that went very well for Frank. Not only did he hit a 15-pound PR lifetime achievement, but he also did that on a different implement, which I believe is actually a lot harder to deadlift. And he did it without a belt on. I mean, that's just incredible. Frank and I are actually going to have a sit down and discuss why we believe and what our theory is, why he did so well in the gym after only working with bands, only doing jiu-jitsu, and taking all that time off in between. And there is actually some science backing why that is. So next time when we sit down and have a talk with Frank, tune in to that because I really feel like that's going to be very educational. I really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.